much for coming back for episode 9. On the last episode, I opened up more about my journey and what it took to become a mother. Becoming a mother wasn't easy, and I want to share more about what it took to get here. Our journey started back in 2017 when we decided that we wanted to grow our family. We went through the whole spiel. Finding a donor, finding a fertility doctor. I can't stress enough, if you're going to start your fertility journey, do the research, look at the reviews, and even if you make a lot of appointments, find the doctor that feels right in your heart. You always trust your gut. Your spirit, your soul will know if it's a fit. Through our fertility doctor was for the first time in my life that I found out that I had PCOS, polycystic ovary syndrome. And the difficulty that having it was going to cause within my fertility journey was something I wasn't prepared to hear. Realizing that it could affect the outcome in our fertility journey was heart-stopping. Because I felt in all my life since I got my period, doctors have told me that having an irregular period was normal, having cramps, they just threw medicine at it. So to hear a validation at my fertility appointment that it's not normal to have such excruciatingly painful periods, that it's not normal to miss 3 months, 4 months at a time, was really eye-opening, because through my life, all my gynecologists said, it's normal, it's okay. So I trusted them. It wasn't until that later on in my life that I myself started doing research when I questioned anything. In this fertility journey, so much came along with it. Of course, I had done my own research, but everybody's fertility journey is different, and every fertility clinic does things differently. It's the things that people don't see. My wife and I had so many tests done together before even starting the IUIs. It was mind-boggling. The fallopian test tube to make sure there was no blockages, the countless blood tests. And in doing these tests, my wife and I both found out that we had a blood clotting disorder that had us later on in the fertility journey having to take blood thinners. The one that took the cake was the uterine lining testing, where they literally take a piece of your uterus off to test it to make sure that everything's okay. Boy, that day, my wife and I went to the spa, even cramping and holding our bellies. The warmth of the water, the sound of nature was healing. After all that testing and being cleared, we decided to start the IUI journey. And man, we were so hopeful and confident in our doctor after 3 IUIs. And each time I was like, this is it, I'm pregnant. Each time I got that negative test, it felt like I had failed, like my body was failing. It felt like a loss. We were down to our last vial, and that meant something to us because we had always wanted our children to be half siblings. And our donor was no longer donating, so it was crucial. We made the decision to both start the journey for IVF. We held our hands the entire way. We held each other, every time we had to do the injections before the egg retrieval, the needle felt like it was this big. One time we were so nervous that I couldn't inject myself and she couldn't inject me. We called a friend and we were like, please, we need to do this because we need to trigger the eggs. And our nurse friend did it for us and she just jabbed it in. It wasn't until after it came out that we realized that it was the needle head that you extract the medicine with, which was like twice as thick and as long. The miracle was that I didn't feel it. Thank goodness. And all those little things that came with IVF. We found out later that sometimes you can have progesterone injections. We got unlucky to get the suppositories. You were lucky enough not to start walking like a cowboy. Man, those injections were no joke. Twice a day blood thinners. Every day we would set an alarm clock for 4 a.m. for the needle that we had to get every day. It was right in the back. And I would dread when that alarm would go off. I would tell myself, I was like, it's time already. And we both just held on to the thought that we were doing it to start our family. And we would push through the bruises. We would push through all the lumps that we had to massage on a daily to find another spot to keep our babies growing. All the medicines, all of the injections, the physical toll that it took to be on all that medication to mimic what your body usually does regularly, but mine's didn't. I had so much acne, I felt like I was hitting puberty again. The emotional toll of always waiting for the next appointment, waiting for the next blood work to see if the levels were where they needed to be optimally. It was a lot, to say the least. Thinking about it now, it's just like, wow, we did it with the support of each other, and we held each other through the entire process. The weight of it. When you go through things, at that moment, you don't feel all of it until you start to reflect on that time, because you're just like trying to make it to the next, and you're just like being strong and pushing through and trying to conquer a dream, a feeling, something that you're working so hard towards. I remember the first IVF transfer like it was yesterday. There was so much love, so much hope, so much happiness in starting our family. And I remember holding my belly and looking into my wife's eyes with so much joy for what was to come. It was hope returning after the failed IUIs. When we had our first IVF success, that was the greatest feeling ever. It was like, it's so hard to even describe it in this moment, but the joy that filled my body, my being, my everything, and to share it with my wife was the world. We started this journey together, and we did the egg retrieval at the same time. Our eggs were fertilized together, so we always joke around like that our girls are literally twins because they were made on the same day. And after that wonderful IVF success, seeing our little baby every appointment was such a joy. To think of what was to come. And 3 months later, the loss. Nothing can prepare you for that. No one talks about it. No one talks about it until it happens to you. Then everybody comes out and you're like, wow, such a common thing. And nobody talks about it. I felt very fortunate for all the women who held me in that moment, opened up and shared their grief. I carry that loss with me. That moment changed me. I want to encourage anyone who has started their journey or is thinking about it. I'm sending so much love. I want to thank you so much for coming to listen to more of my story, and I will continue on part 2 on my journey of becoming a mom. Sending you so much love.